Hello everybody, my name is Angel and welcome back to my little corner of the internet. Or, if you're new here, welcome for the first time. I hope you stick around. Hey y'all! So, in our last video, sorry, I went full character mode just then. I don't even know what character I was trying to be. I do performance theater. Murder mysteries, and some of them are themed in ways that require me to do an accent. So I've got a few up my belt that I use pretty often. I've got like a sort of average British accent. That's not what that was. That was either my southern accent that I do for the maid or my 1920s mob boss accent. But I don't know where I was going. Y'all don't care about my job, actually, at all. Anyway. Hey everybody, in the last video we talked about a movie that pissed me off so bad I sat in my room yelling about it for 2.5 hours. I've talked about that movie too many times to too many different people. I feel so bad to everybody I've subjected to that information, but if I had to suffer, I can't be alone. Today, we're going to talk about a movie that I enjoyed so much. It was a darling film. I went into it really excited, so I'm glad that it didn't disappoint me because I cannot handle any more disappointment. Granted, between watching Crimson Peak and uploading my video for Crimson Peak, I did watch several other movies, some of which Tom Hiddleston was actually in. I watched Kong Skull Island almost immediately after Crimson Peak, like a couple days later. And I was like, oh good, redemption. Because that movie pissed me off and Tom Hiddleston did well in it. However, I still hated that movie, so I needed to associate him with something else. I have, however, watched all of the Godzilla and Kong movies. I really liked Kong Skull Island. I know this is really irrelevant. This is not what this video is about. I just want to say I really liked it. It was a great movie. I love Kong. That's my man's. I love him down. I love him so much. Not the point. Today we're going to be talking about The Idea of You, a 2024 romance movie starring Anne Hathaway, aka the Queen of Genovia, aka a living legend, the icon. I love everything I've ever seen Anne Hathaway in. I don't care what it's about. You don't have to tell me. If Anne Hathaway is in it, I will be watching. Okay? And her opposite in this movie is Nicholas Galitzine. He seems to be Hollywood's newest it boy because he's kind of everywhere right now. He was in Bottoms, which I watched. He was in Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I haven't watched, but it's on my list. I'm just not sure how quickly I'll get to it because I haven't heard like a lot about it, just that people watched it. Oh, but I did recently find out he's in a series called Mary and George, in which he and his mother, Mary, seduce the King of England, who is George, which is wild to me. I wonder if it's the same George from Hamilton and Queen Charlotte. Can we stop making things about this specific British monarch? Anyway, I'm jumping to conclusions. I don't even know if it's the same George. George is a pretty common name, so I don't know much about the British monarchy. Maybe there was more than one King George. There probably was, right? They had 8 King Henrys. This video isn't about that at all. Today we're talking about The Idea of You, 2024. This movie was adorable. I loved every minute of it. I'm not gonna lie. I cried watching this movie, but we'll get to that. Okay, so we are introduced to a lot of characters in the very beginning, so I'm gonna throw a lot of names at you. Good luck. So, The Idea of You begins with our main character, Selena, played by Anne Hathaway. She's in her house. It's very cute, cottage-core-y, and I'm not totally sure if that is on purpose because she's an artiste or if it's just a little chaotic because she's a single mom to a teenager. However, I love it. It feels lived in, and I think that when houses look a little too pristine, it feels... How do I explain this? There's no nice way to put it. It feels serial killy. Feels like you're a little bit off. So we meet Selena. Her bestie comes over and they start having a conversation. Turns out Selena is planning on going camping this weekend. It seems like it's some sort of tradition. She does it every year. Previously, she has done it with her family. However, Izzy, her daughter, is going to Coachella this weekend with her father, Dan, who is Selena's ex-husband, and Dan's new wife, whose name I do not remember, so I guess we'll just call her the wife. I feel like rude not calling her by a name, but she's also not relevant enough to the plot. They say her name maybe 2 times. Izzy is planning to go to Coachella with her father and his new wife. in addition to a few of her friends, her dad bought like VIP tickets to meet a boy band named August Moon. The teens come bursting in the middle of this conversation between Selena and her friend. They rush upstairs, grab whatever things they need for Coachella, and then Selena drives them to Daniel's house, the ex-husband. She says her last goodbyes to her daughter. She's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on airplane mode because I'm going camping, but I'll check my phone every few hours. Stay safe. Don't lose your friends and don't get hurt, basically. She gets back in her car. She's about to leave, and her ex-husband comes up to her car and like knocks on the window. Click, 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 click. And he's like, oh, you should like come over for lunch sometime, or you can like play pickleball with us. My wife's really good at pickleball. She could teach you. It's really easy, actually. And she's like, I'm actually super busy, so I will not be playing pickleball with you, but I gotta go. Have fun at Coachella. And then she leaves. And here's the funny thing. She must have put her phone on airplane mode as soon as she left that driveway, because she goes back to her house, loads her car up for her camping trip, and then down the road at full speed comes Daniel, Izzy's friends, and the wife. And she's like, what's happening? Why are you here? And he's like, did you get my text? And she's like, I'm on airplane mode. You're on airplane. You haven't even left the city. Why are you already on airplane mode? She did not want to be bothered for shit. That is so funny to me. She didn't even leave town. She hasn't left her driveway, and she put her phone on airplane mode already. But whatever. So her ex-husband is like, listen, something came up. I have like a really big thing at work, and I have to fly to Texas like right now. Can you please take the kids to Coachella? Because again, he bought like VIP passes to meet some band that his daughter used to like. I'm pointing that out. But we'll get to it. She's like, well, why can't your wife just take them? And he's like, well, she's coming with me to this work-related thing, and it's really important. And she's like, you were supposed to take them though. And he's like, I know, blah, blah, blah. So she agrees to take them because the kids obviously really want to go to Coachella. And so now she changes her plans, goes to Coachella with them, gets there. The kids like run off to see somebody else perform or whatever before the meet and greet. So she heads straight to like the VIP lounge for this meet and greet because she has no real business at Coachella. She wasn't planning to be here. I don't think she knows anybody performing. So she's sitting in the lounge. She meets another like mom who's like, oh my God, how long have you been a moonhead? And she's like, huh? Which I guess is what they call the August Moon fans, which is very funny to me. And she's like, oh no, I'm here with my daughter. I don't know anything about this band. And for some reason, this lady does not believe her when she says her daughter is the reason she's at this meet and greet. Maybe it's because her daughter isn't there, but also she's not wearing any gear. She doesn't have like the woman she's talking to is wearing like an August Moon t-shirt and like has a poster in hand that I guess she plans to get signed. Selena doesn't have any of that stuff. I would not assume that she's a fan. I would assume her child is running around somewhere in this VIP lounge. But I digress. She needs to use the bathroom. So she goes outside, sees a woman leave a like trailer. And so she's like, that must be the bathroom. She goes into this trailer, knocks on the bathroom door inside the trailer. There's somebody in there. So he's like, oh, just a minute. And she waits. He comes out of the bathroom and is staring at her. And she's like, do you mind? And he's like, oh, you want to use the bathroom? Cool. So he steps out of the way. She goes in the bathroom and he just has a seat on like the couch that's in there. This is our love interest. His name is Hayes. He has a last name. Don't know what it is, but his name is Hayes. He is part of August Moon, played by Nicholas G. So she comes out of the bathroom and he's sitting there. And she's like, that's weird. Were you just listening to me in the bathroom? What's that about? And he's like, no, this is actually not a restroom. This is my trailer. And she's like, your you're in the band, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, I'm Hayes. I'm in August Moon. She's like, no, I am familiar with your game, unfortunately. Didn't recognize you, though. She's like, I'm here with my daughter for the meet and greet. And he's like, oh, so your daughter is a fan. And Selena is like, she was. And he's like, ouch. And she's like, I mean, she'll probably become like a nostalgic fan later on in life when she realized none of this shit mattered. That's not how Selena phrases it, but that's really what she's saying. But at the moment, she feels like August Moon is so, and I quote, 7th grade, which is really ironic to me because August Moon performs several times in this movie, and some of the lyrics are not the type that would be targeting a 7th grade audience. Let's BFFR for 1 second. Also, I know that teenagers all go through a phase where they're like, I can't enjoy any of the things I enjoyed when I was younger, but it's the dumbest thing in the world, because then you hit your 20s and you're like, I miss all of the things I enjoyed when I was younger. She'll get over it, I know, but it's very annoying. She's going to this meet and greet because her dad bought the tickets. However, she's no longer even an August Moon fan, apparently, and finds them childish. And I'm like, I think it's more childish to assume that you can't listen to this band anymore because now you're 16. They're older than you, babe. They're older than you. Like, all of that. But whatever. So she starts word vomiting to him. She's like, her father bought the VIP tickets, but I don't think he realizes that she's not a fan anymore. And I'm like, girl, he does not need all of this information. And the only thing he picks up from that story is he says, her father. So not your husband? You are off to a very dangerous start, Hayes. Campbell. His last name is Campbell. Hayes Campbell. There we go. And she's like, he was my husband, but now he's not. And they chat for a little bit longer, but then Hayes has his manager and some people pop into the room to prep him for the meet and greet. So she just sneaks out while he's having that conversation, goes back into the meet and greet room, gets in line for the meet and greet before her crew of teenagers returns, which is very funny to me. I mean, she's a real one, saved their spot, I guess. However, she was like this close. She was like 2 people from getting on stage when they showed up. And imagine, right, that they didn't show up and she's in line. What does she do? She hops out of the line? Oh my God. Or she guts up without the kids. Even worse. Anyway, her daughter, Izzy, is like, I don't even know why we have to do this. She's like, because your father paid a lot of money for these tickets and it would be rude. Selena, you're better than me, honestly. He paid for tickets for something she doesn't care about anymore. That's his money wasted. And he's a big shot, hot shot lawyer, so he can afford to waste that money. He's not spending it on her. Anyway, I digress. They're doing their little meet and greet thing. The kids go in front of her. And Hayes is like, I didn't get your name when we spoke before. And her daughter is talking to the guy, like I was going to say bias, which is technically a K-pop term, but I don't think there's an equivalent for like Western pop bands. So her bias in this boy band. And suddenly fangirling. Oh my God, like, I love you so much. Like, they get out to Izzy. Oh, I thought they were 7th grade. I thought they were so 7th grade. What happened to that? They're like holding up this meet and greet, by the way. Hayes is asking Selena for her name, and she did not immediately give it, but Izzy peeped this conversation and was like, what's happening here? And then Selena is like, oh, we met earlier in the bathroom, actually. And then Izzy's friends pop in. Also, whichever boy band member, I think his name is Oscar, is sitting next to Hayes, is wildly flirtatious with Selena. Like, he's going in. He's like, oh, who is this? And Izzy introduces her finally. And Oscar, I'm going to call him that. I don't know if that's his name, but Oscar, maybe it's Simon, something like that. Those names do have a similar vibe. That's so interesting. I've never noticed that before. Anyway, Oscar asks if Selena is Izzy's sister, because Izzy is the one who gave everybody Selena's name. Selena's like, I'm her mother. And he's like, you don't look anything like my mom. And everyone's like, hello? And he's like, what? My mom is black. I'm gonna beat your ass. He was sick for that, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there's a little more exchange. One of Izzy's friends starts gabbing and going off about how Selena owns an art gallery in wherever the art gallery is located. And I'm like, why y'all are giving this band too much random information. I've been to like 2 meet and greets in my life, and we literally went, hi, how are you? You know, took some pictures, signed some things, and kept it moving. Never in my life have I been compelled to tell a stranger this much information. Even if they were a celebrity that I liked, I could not. Anyway, whatever. Meet and greet ends here, but there are still people in line, which is really funny to me. Like, they just stopped meeting people because Selena was there. Fast forward, it's nighttime, we're at the concert. Selena is somewhere in the crowd with her little teenagers and is having the time of her life. She has gone full, like, I'm excited to be here. So has Izzy. I'm so tired. Now I feel like you're a poser. You still like them and you want to pretend you don't, and that to me is weirder than not liking them anymore because you're 16. Anyway, whatever. Everybody's having a good time. Izzy, her friends, even her mom is getting into it. August Moon has some fire songs. I don't know who was like their songwriter, because they're obviously not a band outside of this movie. However, they put together some fire-ass tracks for this fake boy band, let me tell you. I love the commitment to fake boy bands that has been happening as of late in movies, like in Turning Red. I want a full album from this band that only exists within your movie. Do it. We hear a couple of their songs. Don't know who's singing. I wonder if they are actually singing or if it's one of those like Drew Seeley ex High School Musical situations. If you don't know, Zac Efron, who plays Troy Bolton in the High School Musical movies, he doesn't sing in the first movie. It's this guy, Drew Seeley, who sings all of his songs. He also is the romantic lead in Another Cinderella Story with Selena Gomez, which is, in my opinion, one of the best Cinderella renditions. If I had to pick a best Cinderella, it's the one with Brandy and Whitney and Whoopi Goldberg, and I don't remember the prince's name, but he was fine. All of them, they make the best actual Cinderella remake. However, all of the like revamp retellings in like the modern day, the one with Selena Gomez is by far my favorite. Anyway, me and my tangents, you know how it goes around here. So they perform a couple of their songs, and then Hayes stops the concert. He's like, hang on, sorry guys, wait a minute, this isn't planned, we need to talk. They like, the boys get in a circle, whisper, think. And then they're like, okay, so we weren't planning on doing this song tonight, but Hayes is saying this. I met a girl and I'm feeling inspired, so here's a different song. And they sing a song about wanting to get closer. Selena is, feeling it a little bit. However, he's 24 and she is 39, about to turn 40. Her birthday happens in this movie, so she's not paying it any attention. The concert ends, they go home, we fast forward a little bit, and she's in her office in the back, clacking away at her keyboard, doing her little business things. And one of her coworkers came into her office and was like, hey, so we kind of need you up front. And she's like, okay, give me a minute. And the girl's like, no, we need you now. It can't wait. And she's like, okay, what's wrong? Which, fair, I would assume there was a crisis. No, it's just Hayes standing in my lobby. This could have waited a couple of minutes. I was working on an email that has a deadline. She's like, hi. And he's like, so I hope you don't mind I stopped by unannounced. I have a very empty flat in London that could use some artwork, which it's probably empty because you're never there. You're a touring musician. You don't need artwork in it, but whatever. He's like, I have a very empty flat in London that could use some art, so I thought I'd come check out what y'all got. And she's like, okay, cool. So we'll start in the back. There are some like vases in a room. He decides to buy all of the pieces of pottery in the room, and she's like, okay. And she calls one of her coworkers and is like, can you package these up? He wants everything in this room. And then they step back out of the room and he's like, oh, what are these? These really caught my eye earlier. And so she starts explaining that art, and he's like, cool, I'll take all of them by the same artist. And he's like, also, I'll take those over on that wall because they caught my attention, and one of those too. Actually, I'm just gonna buy everything in the gallery. And she's like, listen, I don't know what you get up to. I don't know what you get down like. But these are artists that take their work very seriously. And I take their work very seriously. So if you're in here playing games, I don't appreciate it. He's like, I actually really like art. And I've been looking for stuff that speaks to me for a very, very long time. And I like the stuff here. It speaks to me in a way that art has not recently. So I'd really like to purchase it if that's okay with you. And she's like, okay, fine. He's like, okay, what else have you got around here? Like in your shop? And she's like, you bought everything. What you see is what you got. Like, I don't have a back room of this building. This is it. And you just bought it all. He's like, okay, well then I guess I will go find a different art gallery. I don't know why he did that. That was weird to me. But she was like, hang on. I have a friend who's an artist. She's a warehouse up in another part of California. We can go there and check out some of her stuff. And he's like, great, I've always wanted to go there. And she's like, the middle of nowhere? And he's like, yeah, I love the middle of nowhere. It's my favorite place to be. And he's like, actually, let's take your car. There's now like a small audience of people outside of this art gallery, obviously. So her car is parked around the back. They hop in. He pulls his chair all the way back as they drive down the street. And they end up in wherever they were supposed to go, her friend's warehouse. For some reason, she has a key to her friend's art warehouse. But whatever. She takes him in there, shows him some of her artwork. They have like a conversation as well. He asks her what she studied in university and things like that. And she asks him how he ended up in a boy band. And he's like, I auditioned. Then they decide to go to lunch. Initially, she's like, oh, we should go to like a restaurant that I really like. But there's a car next to them that's like taking pictures of him. She realizes how visibly uncomfortable he is with the attention. So she's like, you know what? We'll just have lunch at my house. So she takes him to her house and plans to make him a little sandwich. And she opens her fridge and realizes that it's off. Because I guess her fridge is half busted. So sometimes it just turns off. And she didn't realize it was off. So she like smelled some milk that had been in her fridge and was like, now I have to figure out how long this has been off and what is still good, what's still bad. And he takes the milk from her and he's like, this will probably last another week based on the expiration date. And then he chugs her milk out of the carton. Just no home training. You're a guest in this house. You may never see this lady again. And you're chugging her milk straight from the carton. Granted, he drinks the milk and then is like, yeah, I lied. That milk does not have another week. And she's like, why would you do that? Which is totally fair. Why would you just chug random milk? You don't even know how long it's been sitting in a room temperature fridge. Whatever. They spend a little while testing all the stuff in her fridge, rescuing what they can, tossing what they can't. And then she makes some sandwiches and they're sitting, they're eating, talking. He got trust issues, she got trust issues, and she eventually snaps out of whatever daze she was in during this conversation, is like, all right, I think you should go. And he's like, we're just two people having a conversation. What's the worst that could happen? And for some reason, this boy that she has met officially like a week ago, she tells him the entire story of how her life blew up. She talks about her ex-husband. They got married young because Anne got pregnant. He got a job that paid really well, I guess. Made partner, things were going great, but then they started to drift apart, as happens. And then one day she was at like a dinner with all of his coworkers, and she mentioned something about a friend of theirs that had cheated on his wife or something, and the whole table went dead. And when she's telling Hayes the story, she's like, you know that feeling when you walk into a room and you know everybody was just talking about you? It felt like that, but so much worse. And she is looking at her husband and he's not looking at her. So they go home and she asks if he's cheating on her. And he is, with some like new girl that works at his law firm. That's his wife now, mind you. Which is why all of that earlier about playing pickleball with me and the bitch I cheated on you with, that's crazy. Selena is a better woman than me, because I probably would have run over his foot. I'm going to back out of that driveway with your foot underneath my tire. How dare you suggest I be buddy-buddy with you and your wife? Anyway, I digress. She tells him this whole traumatic story of her husband cheating on her and how she found out and how she actually was willing to move on. She told him that for the sake of Izzy, for the sake of their family, that she was willing to forgive him, and he said he didn't want her to forgive him. He didn't want to move past it. And then he packed his stuff, he left, they got a divorce, and this was like 3 years ago, so it's still a relatively fresh wound considering they were together for at least 10 years. But yeah, she tells him this story, and I gotta be honest, listen, Anne Hathaway, that's an actress. Okay, because when I tell you my chest was hurting for her, I will say it's so crazy to tell this man that you just met the story of how you got cheated on and how you found out. I gotta be honest. However, Anne Hathaway ate that up. That was gut-wrenching to hear. She gets a phone call from her daughter. So she goes to talk to her child. He sits his ass at the piano, starts playing something. It's a little melody that he will play a couple of times throughout this movie. And she comes in and is like, "Ooh, what's that?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just goofing around." I don't know how we escalate here, but he grabs her leg and like pulls her closer to him. And he stands up. This is where you see the energy shift. Let me tell you, I was squealing. So she's like, "I'm too old for you." And he goes, "No, you're not." And he grabs her by the back of the neck and he kisses her, and it goes hard. And then she pulls away and she's like, "I'm old enough to be your mother." And he's like, "Yeah, but you're not." And he grabs her again and he kisses her again. And oh my God. I was like, "Oh, I'm in for a ride." I ate it up so good. I was like, "Give me more now, please. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about." They bring it back real lovers, y'all. I'm excited. I'm over the moon. Anyway, I think at this point, she tells Hayes that he has to go and that this is not going to work out. She is real steadfast in her belief that he is too young for her, which is fair. And so he's like, "Okay, I hope I see you again." She doesn't catch this, but he leaves his watch on her table. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. He ate that. He was like, "I'm going to find a reason to come back to this." Anyway, a couple days pass. He texts her. And I'm like, how do you get her number? Because if that's weird to me. Sorry. I know you can Google an art gallery, but you certainly can't Google her personal cell phone number. Little foolish if you ask me. Apparently, her personal number is included in the invoice for all of the art that you buy from her shop. So he texts her and he's like, "Oh, I can't get that kiss out of my head." And she's like, "Who's this?" He's like, "Cold. I got your number from the invoice of the art I purchased. I hope that's okay." Shut. King of respect. Weird that her personal phone number is included in her invoices, though. That to me is an unsafe business practice, but what do I know? He tells her that he's performing in New York and he's inviting her to come see him in New York. And she goes. I didn't think she was going to, but Izzy is at summer camp. Like, she's at a sleepaway camp all summer. Hayes, through a series of "come on, what have you got to lose" esque tasks, convinces her to go to New York. She goes to New York. She struts up to his hotel room in a trench coat, pops the trench coat off, and she's wearing a dress, but it's for sure a your eyes only type of dress. Like, she's not going anywhere in that dress. And he's like, "Is that a new dress?" And she's like, "No." I love them. So we get this very tense interaction where they're like gravitating towards each other. And then they smash. They spend the entire weekend that he's in New York canoodling and kikiing and screwing and bonding and giggling with each other. It's very cute. And he's like, "So I leave for the European leg of my tour soon." She's like, "Don't worry, I'll be out of your hair in the morning." And he's like, No. I was hoping you would come with me." And she's like, "Don't be ridiculous." And he's like, "Oh, come on. Why not?" And he's like, "Izzy's at summer camp. And when is the last time you got to take a vacation? First of all. Secondly, I bought all of the artwork in your gallery. So don't you kind of need to give the artist time to make more work?" And she gives him like a little tap on the cheek because that was snarky. Why would you? Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Shut up. The point is, I can't just drop everything and go to Europe. Hayes. She does. She drops everything and she goes to Europe. And so we get a montage of her going to their shows. They are bonding. They're getting closer. There's one night in Paris where they're having dinner, and in public, he kisses her. They're like at a restaurant. And she was like, that was reckless. And he was like, this is Paris. And she was like, it was still reckless. And we as an audience watched somebody we don't know who took the damn picture, if it was paparazzis or like a fan or what. Somebody definitely did take a picture of them. And here's the thing that was kind of odd to me. That picture was taken, and then we see several other things happen over the course of like at least 2 more days before we ever come to that picture's relevance. So he thinks that they don't have a problem because they're in Paris. And then he's like, hey, we have a long weekend coming up, and Oscar and I are heading to like a beach house. You should come along. It'll be fun. So she's chilling at this little private house that they're at. The boys are in the pool, so she's sitting by the pool with the other girls. One of the other girls asks Selena how she and Hayes met. And she starts telling the story about them meeting in the bathroom and then the song dedication at Coachella. And one of the girls mentions that it's a bit that they do. Like, anytime they, like, meet a girl at a concert that they like, they pretend that they've changed the set list. And it becomes a whole thing. The girls mention a Swedish model that Hayes has also pulled the same trick on, where he, like, dedicated a song to her and they started dating. And then the lady wouldn't leave them alone even after Hayes broke up with her. But I'm a little suspicious as to how he broke up with her and she didn't just leave him alone. Like, there's no way he cleanly said, I don't want to see you anymore, and she was just following them around, because she was also in her 30s. And this conversation makes Selena very uncomfortable, so she goes back inside and Hayes follows her and is like, oh, let me explain. And she's like, I actually don't even want to hear it, it's fine. And he's like, you can't be surprised that I've, like, slept with other women. And she's like, no, I don't care. I also don't even care that you have a type in older women. That conversation with your little friends felt a lot like when I found out my husband cheated on me, and that's not a good feeling. So I'm kind of over it. Like, this was fun, but clearly we need to cut this now. And he's like, no, I have no intent. I wasn't planning on breaking up with you when this tour ended. I actually, like, I don't want this to end, because for once in my life, I'm, like, happy and I feel feelings. Usually I feel numb, blah, 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 blah. You know, he gives her his little speech about how he thinks he's falling in love with her. And there's, like, a stretch of silence where she just kind of looks at him, and he's like, this is the part where you're supposed to say that you feel the same.
Of course it is.
Heart shattered. Just a little bit. And she was like, I can't say that. And he's like, oh, I know what you're doing. You're running away because you're, like, scared or something. And she's like, yeah, duh, I'm scared. I was married for 13 years and he cheated on me with some girl at his job. Of course I'm scared. And you're a child. Like, realistically, there's no way this is going to work long term. And he's like, you haven't even told anybody that we're together. Are you, like, ashamed of me? And she says yes, which I don't think is true. I think she said that because she knew it would shut him down. And it does. It shuts him down. And he's like, okay, I will sleep on the couch tonight and get you a flight back to LA in the morning. So that's what happens. She goes back home and tries to recover. Her ex-husband shows up at her house. I don't remember what he was there for. Oh, that's why he came. He came to drop off a birthday gift for Izzy. He got her a car for her 17th birthday. And he dropped it off with Selena, who was like, we had a price cap on what we were going to get her for her birthday. But he was there and he was like, hey, do you know what's crazy? A friend of mine said they saw you in Paris a couple weeks ago. And she was like, yeah, I was in Paris for an art thing. And he's like, you know what's even crazier is that he said he saw you with that Hayes Campbell boy from that band that Izzy likes. Isn't that insane? And she's like, yeah, that is insane. He's like, yeah, I mean, like, it'd be totally crazy. You totally see why that would be ridiculous for you to be dating him because he's so much younger than you. And it's like a weird thing where he's trying to pretend he's the moral guidance for her. He walked away to go take pictures with the car for some reason. And his wife stayed by the door and was like, the irony is not lost on me. And Selena is like, okay. His wife then tells Selena that she's planning on leaving him. And Selena is like, okay, why are you telling me this? And she's like, well, because I want you to know the truth. And she's like, all right. And that's where that ends. She doesn't tell her anything more. She doesn't explain why she's leaving him. And I mean, not that Selena really wanted to know that, but I do. I want to know, why are you leaving him? It seems like the next morning or maybe a couple days later, he texts her and is like, I don't know how this happened. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to take care of it. Just stay off the internet for the day. And she, for a little while, does. At least for a few hours, she does. Eventually, she pops open her computer and sees a headline that says, Hayes bagged a cougar. And she... her reaction was hilarious, but also so real and raw. She screams and slams her laptop shut. Girl, I get it. Because I don't know how else to react to that kind of headline either, to be honest. I think I would also scream and shut my computer. And this is where I said that I don't understand what's happening here, because that photo of them in France was taken at least 3-4 days ago at this point. You mean to tell me they didn't drop that photo immediately? She was able to get all the way back home, like have a big blow up argument and get all the way home before people found out that she was dating Hayes. And the thing about it that blows me is that they've now broken up. Like, they're not even together anymore, and now the article's been posted? When the general public found out that Selena and Hayes were together, her ex-husband had the audacity to text her and be like, this is crazy, and you lied to me, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's blowing up her phone like a nutcase. But whatever, she's trying her best to just keep on trucking. Because what else can you do? She's broken up with him. So she's just trying to live her life for a little while. She goes to pick up Izzy from camp, and that is a hot ass mess. She gets there, and some guy walks up to her and is like, excuse me, can we take a photo? They take a picture together, and his wife is like, can you behave like a human being? Mind you, again, she's broken up with Hayes. But of course, nobody knows. Whatever, I digress. Another mom walks up to her and is like, I just want to say, my daughter has had a crush on Hayes since she was 10 years old. So I hope you're happy breaking her heart. Your daughter was not going to date Hayes. And if you were okay with your daughter dating Hayes, you need help. If you were like in your brain, like, yeah, my daughter can date this man who's at least a good chunk a bit older than her, probably. If she's 16 now, he's 24. Okay. Because she's at this camp, so she can't be older than like 16, 17. She might be younger than that too. There's no way you thought 24-year-old Hayes was going to date your teenage daughter. There's absolutely, you can't be telling me right now that you thought that was going to happen. Who cares? Honestly, this is another thing. Okay. This is another problem I have with celebrity culture, specifically surrounding boy bands and like male celebrities. It's a really big problem in K-pop as well, where they feed into the delusion that these celebrities are dateable for the fans. And I'm not saying that these celebrities can't date fans of theirs. It happens all the damn time. My point is, they intentionally restrict these people's relationships, not because they're worried about their privacy, but because they're trying to keep up an illusion that these girls can fantasize about dating these men that will literally never look their way. And that really bothers me, because there's no reason you should have this much control over somebody else's life. He gets up on stage and he sings his little damn songs. Who gives a hell if he has a relationship? Obviously, he wasn't going to be single forever, and your 13-year-old daughter was not going to be the love of his life. Anyway, she picks up Izzy, and they go somewhere to talk, and Izzy is like, you never told me. And she's like, I didn't tell anybody. And Izzy's like, I don't care that you were dating him. I would have been fine with that, but you lied to me just like Dad did, and that sucks. And her mom is like, I'm sorry, you're right, I messed up, I should have told you, but I didn't think it was going to last. I thought it was going to be like a little summer fling that I never had to think about again after I returned home, and I was foolish for thinking that as well. And I'm sorry, but it'll never happen again. And then Izzy's like, is he a feminist? Because that's very important. And she's like, I mean, he's still a man, but yeah, he's pretty pro-feminism. And she's like, okay. She's like, and do you love him? And her mom is like, I do, yeah. And she's like, why the hell would you break up with a feminist that you're in love with? What is wrong with you? Her daughter is so real and raw. So, yeah. her daughter is like, you were a fool. You broke up with him. He's hot. He's talented. You love him. And he's a feminist. What is wrong with you? So Selena goes to Hayes. They're back in LA. I guess their tour is over. And she tracks him down at a recording studio. And they talk. And Selena is like, you know how you said I was supposed to say that I feel the same way? Yeah, I do. But I was scared and blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the third. She gives her little speech. And he's like, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting to see you. I need a minute to process this, if you don't mind. And she's like, right, of course. I thought she was going to leave, because when somebody says I need time to process this, I'm going to assume it's going to take you more than 5 minutes. I would have walked out the room, but she just stands there as if she's waiting to be dismissed or something. And I just thought it was funny, because I was like, girl, he'll get back to you, I guess. Maybe they won't get back together. I was starting to get concerned. I was like, if this doesn't end with a happy ending, I'm going to be pissed. I talked about it in Crimson Peak. I hate when romances don't end with happy endings. I don't care. I know that it's not realistic. This is fiction. Let me deal with the realities of life in reality. Let me be delusional when I watch a fake movie. None of this is real. Let it be that. That was like my biggest gripe with La La Land. I'm talking about it again. I'm going to keep talking about La La Land. Ciao. I'm getting heated. He's like, I need a minute to think about this. She's standing there waiting to be dismissed, I guess. And he's like, I've had enough time. And he kisses her. And I'm like, oh, okay. No wonder she didn't leave. But like, she didn't know that was what was going to happen. Anyway, I know. It's fiction. It's fake. Suspend. They get back together. Now we have like a little like team prep meeting. Because not only are they together, the public knows now. So he preps her, obviously, and her daughter, Izzy, and Izzy's friends. So, you know, game plan. Everybody's ready. Hayes and Selena just be gallivanting the city now. They always together. We get like a cute little dating montage of them going places, doing things, walking the streets of LA. Something about the sunshine, baby. That's from a different... Anyway, we get their cute little dating montage. Things are going well. But then for some reason, the vitriol gets worse. People start... Like, again, people are mean, but... Now headlines are like, this is disgusting because she has a child. On the August Moon YouTube channel, there are comments like, aren't you a mom? Act like it. I would hate to have a mother like you. You're disgusting. I would be so embarrassed to be your child. Like, people are now attacking her as a mom. And she didn't realize at first because she wasn't checking the internet. But then their manager reached out and was like, hey, girl, you might want to release a statement because the headlines are getting worse. Because now all of them are attacking her for being a mom. Also, at this point, one of Hayes' band members got into some sort of trouble. I think he was arrested or something, which you would think is a bigger deal than Hayes dating an older woman, but whatever. His bandmate is in trouble, so he, like, flies out for a weekend to try and help out with that situation while she's, like, finding out that people now think she's an awful mother for having a love life. And she goes to pick up Izzy from school one day. She's in her senior year of high school. And some girls are like laughing as she gets in the car, and Izzy is like, they asked me if I could get a picture of Hayes' penis from you for them. So that's where we are now. Also, that boy that I thought liked me, today he said, tell your mom I turned 18 in 2 months. So things are going great for me. Which, that to me is probably the most unrealistic, mean thing that was said to her, because if he thought your mom was a MILF, you would have been known. You know, like, her dating a 24-year-old pop star wouldn't suddenly make her MILF material. Also, this is Anne Hathaway. She still looks the same as she did in The Princess Diaries 24 damn years ago. So she was sorry, I know we're supposed to suspend our disbelief or whatever, but I know how teenagers operate. They for sure would have been calling her mama a MILF already. She would have been known half her classmates wanted to her mama. I'm just saying. Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. I got a friend who I was telling about this movie, and they were like, yeah, people think my mom is hot. And I knew all through high school that people thought my mom is hot. So I'm just saying, we would have been known. This isn't something to be crying about now. I digress. When she sees that this is affecting her daughter's life at school, she decides that this isn't going to work anymore. So either that night or the next night, whatever, whenever Hayes comes back, she goes to pick him up from somewhere. I would say the airport, but I know what LAX looks like, and it's not like wherever the hell she picked him up from. But she picked him up from somewhere. And in the car, he's like, hey, babe, mwah, missed you. But she's like puffy-eyed and not looking at him. And he's like, what's going on? And she's like, we can't do this anymore. And he's like, damn, again? Me too. I was like, damn, again? I was like, if they don't end this movie together, I'm going to fall to pieces. I was out here feeling like this exact screenshot of Michael Jackson. I was sitting there like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. I get it. I do. I get it, you know? However, and maybe I'm just an asshole. This is why I don't have kids. However, she'll be in school for what? 6, 7 more months? She goes to college. Nobody in college is going to give if I like colleges are so big and everybody is so worried about their own thing that nobody at her university is going to be yapping their mouths about her dating a 24-year-old. So like really, sorry, just thug it out for the next 8 months. You don't like most of these people anyway. You're never going to see them again. Maybe I'm a because high school didn't matter to me. Nothing that happened in high school was worth like caring about that much, even when I was in high school. So I feel like the pros and cons were not properly weighed. He's like, you're not even gonna fight for us? And she's like, I can't because this is affecting Izzy. Like that is more important to me. I am a mom before anything else. So sorry, my guy. Deuces. A few days later, he comes to her house and he's like, I auditioned for that band when I was 14. One decision at 14 years old should not ruin an entire life. And she's like, it's not going to. You are going to live a very fulfilling, very complete life. And he's like, listen, at least reconsider. In 5 years, Izzy will be done with school and it really won't matter anymore. Just please. And she's like, I cannot ask you to wait 5 years to be with me. If you get a chance at happiness, take it. And I will do the same. And in my head, y'all don't have to wait 5 years. First of all, you never publicly announced that you were breaking up. At least we don't see them publicly announce the breakup. So I don't really know how it matters. Especially because you breaking up with him is not going to stop people from thinking that you're a skank for dating a 24-year-old in the first place. 1. 2, again, all you had to do was wait 8 months. She gets to college, nobody's gonna care. Again, y'all don't publicly announce that you're together. You never publicly announce that you broke up. So I don't think it matters. If you break up at this point, it's not going to stop public opinion. Nothing's going to change. People are still going to drag her for the rest of the school year. Like, the damage has been done. Maybe I hate to be this. This is useless. This is not helping anybody. But whatever. They kiss one more time. He leaves his watch again. I thought that this was the end of the movie. I was packing for a show and devastated thinking that this is where it ended. I was like, not again. Another movie that disappointed me. However, we get a 5-year flash forward. Hayes is performing on the Graham show. That British guy, the salt and pepper dude with the beard. He interviews all the British people. This man, he's on his show. He performs a song, which the lyrics. This movie made me cry. Okay? I like to pretend I don't cry. I like to pretend I'm not that emotional. I'm emotional. I cry all the time. I cry when things make me happy. I cry when things make me sad. I cry when I'm angry. I try really hard not to cry in front of people, so you might not ever know that I cry a lot, but I be crying, y'all, okay? And I'm tired of pretending I don't. So I just want to let y'all know this movie made me sob. I was on my knees wailing, or wailing internally because it was like 2 a.m. and my mom was asleep. But I was devastated during this specific scene. He's singing his little song and the lyrics are, we tried things your way, we can still try it mine, we still have time. Ah! And she was watching that performance. She was like flipping through channels and like stumbled upon it as he's singing the line that we can still try things my way. Oh my God. Like I was sitting there yelling at my TV. I was like, girl, if you don't go track his stupid ass down right now, I'm gonna beat both of y'all. But he's doing his little interview and he's like, after this leg of the tour, I am going on a much needed break. And he's like, oh, well, where do you plan on going? And Hayes is like, LA. There's somebody there that I'd really like to see. For a second, I was like, oh, does he have another girlfriend? Devastation. I was fully prepared to be disappointed with the ending of this movie, okay? Because 2 breakup arcs is crazy. You only needed 1. So, you know, mentally preparing my heart for some man to walk into her house. But she's at work the next day or a couple days later, who knows, in her little art gallery doing her little thing. She's in her office, click, click, clickety, clack. And her coworker is like, we need you up front, Selena. And there's Hayes. And they look at each other and they smile. And that's where the movie ends. And I mean, I know that means they got back together. It would have been nice to see what changed, you know, like what 5 years did for their relationship, for themselves personally. Like, were they really just hanging out waiting for each other? Who knows? Izzy is currently in Chicago, in case you were wondering what the hell happened to her. She, I guess, ended up at college in Chicago. I don't know what school, but that's where she's at. But they end up together, and that was enough for my little hopeless romantic heart. I could have watched another hour and a half of them just being in love. Honestly, would have been fine with me. 10 out of 10. Would watch again. Will recommend to everybody else to watch. Because I love Anne Hathaway. Also, Nicholas, let's give him some flowers. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know the drill, how it goes. Mwah. Wait. Hi. At the end of all of my videos, I include a question for you guys to answer down below in the comment section, if you feel so inclined to do so. This video's question is, what is your favorite romance movie? Since I seem to be watching and talking about those a little bit more frequently, tell me your favorite down below in the comment section. I don't know what mine would be. That's a really difficult question. It might be another Cinderella story with Selena Gomez and Drew Seeley. That one is really, 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 really good. So yeah, this is the real end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Feel free to recommend things that you want me to watch, read, discuss on here. Thank you so much. Bye.